You are listening to the Kinky Coach podcast with Stephanie
and Fox.
Hey, Fox.
Yeah?
You've been a bad boy.
Naughty boy. Naughty boys should be punished.
This show contains explicit content
And is intended for mature audiences only.
This is what happens when an innocent, successful mental health professional
Falls for a rugged, prior deployed bad boy.
You get one hell of a ride.
Good evening, everybody. This is Fox from the Kinky Coach. Real quick, we want to discuss today's show. It is a collaboration and roundtable discussion between Stephanie and I and Carol and David from The Sexy Lifestyle. Don't know who Carol and David are? Well, we doubt that, but if not, go to thesexylifestyle.com and check them out. Also, don't forget to go to Amazon and check out their top waterproof blanket. Stephanie and I use it quite often now since they sent it to us. It's great for squirters, sweat, and other bodily fluids, and also sex fluids that we use, such as lube and candle wax, for keeping your mattress or the top of your blanket safe. And it's very easy to clean up. You just throw it in the wash in the dryer and it comes out looking brand new.
We're Carol and David. Welcome to the Hedonism Show, broadcasting on location at Hedo II on the Grill Beach in Jamaica on the last Friday of every month.
Hedo is the world's most iconic adult playground, an all-inclusive paradise where you can turn your fantasies into realities. And holy fuck, have we turned our fantasies into realities here at Hedo II. It's the sexiest place on earth where you can get wicked for a week or be as mild or as wild as you like.
The Hedonism Show is all about the pursuit of pleasure. And as usual, we'll be talking about sex, sexuality, relationships, and all the ways to spice up your sex life and live happy, healthy, and always horny.
Always horny, just the way we like it. So, are you open-minded and curious about ways to expand your relationship and explore your sexuality, but your deep-rooted insecurities are stopping you from going there?
On today's show, we're going to be discussing some shame-based sex education and cultural constructs that create guilt and insecurities surrounding sex and sexuality, and how we can overcome them with strong, loving partners and a safe and non-judgmental environment like Hedonism II Resort in Jamaica, where we are right now.
Where we are right now. That's a lot of big words. I hope you and Stephanie are going to take the lead here, because I'm going to sit out, because anything over 6 letters is too much for me. But before we get going, we want to take a moment to tell everybody about our top waterproof blanket, because nobody wants to sleep in that wet spot, and squirt is hot until it's not. So if you're fed up with sleeping in that wet spot or having to change your sheets every time you have sex, then you need one of our top waterproof blankets. It's 100% waterproof and leak-proof, and it guarantees to keep your bed and mattress dry no matter how wet it gets.
From messy massages and silicone lubes to other sexy wetness, just throw it in the washer and dryer and it comes out looking like brand new. And you don't have to leave your house to get one. Simply and safely, you can buy it on Amazon. Search Top Waterproof Blanket, that's T-O-P, Waterproof Blanket, and order yours today. Great sex starts now.
It sure does, and boy, we have a really special show today. You know this is a hedonism show. We're Carol and David. And we're going to do our show a little bit differently today, because we have our friends from the Kinky Coach with us, and it's going to be a little bit more like a round table. And so we're so excited to be here with Stephanie and Fox from the Kinky Coach.
Hi, thank you for having us. It's been a pleasurable week.
It has been, absolutely.
And we were so glad that you guys were able to join us. We had a great discussion with you guys back in February,
yes.
Where we talked about your business, we talked about your podcast and your website and all the great things that you guys have been doing. And now that you're here with us at Hedo, a whole lot more discussions could be had.
Man.
And Steph, it was great talking to you in February, but being naked with you on the beach.
Even better.
It's even better, isn't it?
And you know what's cool, and we're going to talk about it later, but you have never been naked on the beach, and it took a little bit to get those clothes off, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, it did. But when they came off,
They sure did, right?
I'm not wearing them again.
So one of the main things that I want to get discussing here today with you guys, because you guys have all that great knowledge, is about how your exposure to different experiences can really influence how we look and our attitude, how we look at sex and how we feel about sex. And a lot of people don't know how to come out of their shell. Some people don't know how to expand and explore, but it's certainly something that we can do at a place like this.
Yes.
So I think that's one of the great things that we can talk about today. But, you know, sometimes women don't feel worthy of sexual pleasure. Sometimes we feel that we have to validate that we actually deserve to have sexual pleasure. How do you feel about that, Steph?
That is so absolutely incorrect, but true at the same time. We feel like we have to be worthy, or society tells us we're not allowed to enjoy sex. Sex is for men. You're only put here to have babies and please your man. But let's reverse that. Why can't we have fun? Why can't we enjoy sex? Why can't we have passion and do what we want to do, just like, quote, I'm doing air quotes, the men do?
Yeah, exactly. Now, I know that sometimes it's hard for us to think back and remember what we learned. I mean, sometimes we don't even realize we learned those things in our childhood, but when you get to see something new that's happening and we say, wow, I'd like to try that, we hold back though, right? We're not just jumping in at the beginning. We're thinking about it. Should we? Could we? Would we?
You and I are sex positive. We are very open about our sexuality. However, it was very hard for me. And it's just overcoming the body shaming, all of that fun stuff, but overcoming yourself and just doing it. And so I'm using air quotes again, normal people who come here, I can only imagine how hard it is for some of them for the first time to just let loose. The ladies just to be free, walk around and be comfortable with that, because society again tells us we're not supposed to do this.
You know, Carol has a great story about our first experience at Temptation, where we learned about the swinging lifestyle about 13 years ago. And you can tell us lying on the beds and the sunscreen story.
Right. So when we arrived at Temptation, we had an assigned bed on the beach. So we kind of sat on the same bed every day, but the same couple was also sitting on the bed beside us. And we were watching them be very open with each other because it was topless optional.
Carol did have her top off.
Yes, and I had no problem with that. But the husband was rubbing sunscreen onto her tits.
Yeah, me.
And I looked at David and said, don't even think about doing that to me. You keep your hands off.
Really?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Touch me in public.
Not in public. That was, to me, the thing that we should not be doing. So, and I kept telling David, stop looking at them. They're like, oh my God, you're looking, you keep watching. You know, and of course we got to talking to them because David talks to everybody. And we learned from that experience that they were swingers, they were open-minded, they were sex positive. And actually didn't even know what swinging was. I didn't even know what the lifestyle was. I was very, very curious after talking to them. We had some wonderful discussions. It opened my eye, blew my mind away. And it didn't take long for David to be rubbing sunscreen on my tits in public.
And then a few days later, we ended up playing with them.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. That was your first.
Yeah, they were our first.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's kind of how we learned about that is exactly how we learned about the lifestyle together. And we said, well, let's just dive in. Let's do this.
And we had gone to this resort not knowing anything about the lifestyle, not knowing anything about even being sexy. We had none of the sexy outfits. And the first night that we learned about what all this was about, Carol had a top on that she said, okay.
Well, we had that play date. So we actually made a play date with this couple. And I'm like, what can I wear to the play date? I don't have anything sexy. So I took one of my tops, I pulled really hard, and it became a dress. It just covered my ass, just covered my pussy, and it was perfect.
And we had to walk up and down the stairs, and she's like, make sure when we're going down the stairs that it's down, because I don't want anyone looking up, because, you know, that's not what we do.
Check it out.
Don't do that
Am I
public.
covering my pussy? Is it okay? Is it okay? Anyway.
That is so interesting. That is so interesting. But why? Why were you so inhibited?
I really don't know. I just had no knowledge. I had no reference for it, I guess.
Yeah.
And I can't say why I was inhibited. It just was.
And was it absolutely freeing when you finally let go?
Yes, definitely. And actually, I have been quite. I would say not an exhibitionist, but I was always okay taking off my top and even taking off my clothes in my own privacy of my home or even around someone that I love. But I wasn't necessarily walking around in public with my pussy hanging out.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You know, Steph, when Carol and I met, and we are exhibitionists in the lifestyle. We love fucking in a big orgy with people watching. But when we met, Carol didn't even let me kiss her in line at the grocery store. There was no PDA, Zero.
So we find that we talk to a lot of clients about five different things they have to get over. The first one is the closest to them. They're normally their religious background or their cultural background themselves because of their parental units and their family unit. And these are things they have to evaluate and determine, is it going to be okay with them? Do I care? How much do I care? How much do we want to get involved? And that's usually kind of where we start with individuals that are having a hard time, getting past the subject or going, how do I really do this? I really want to, but I'm afraid.
Absolutely. That's cool. And I know that women very often don't feel worthy of the pleasure, like as we mentioned earlier, and worthy of recognition. And I know for myself, I'm trying to be a perfectionist, not that anybody can, but as I spend my time...
You try really hard.
And you're pretty much perfect. Just going to throw that out there.
When I start talking about, sex and sexuality and our experiences, I'm always worried that I'm not worthy of sharing my knowledge. And we talked about this, that this is what's called imposter syndrome. So tell me, as a learning, to become a doctor, is that one of the reasons you went the next step?
Yes. I have never felt good enough. I've struggled. My past was terrible. I've had so many traumas in my lifetime. I could write a book, several books, probably even do a TV show. But I needed to use that knowledge, and I needed to help others, but I never felt like I was good enough. So I always had to do the next thing. The next thing was, I got my associates, and it had to be my bachelor's. Well, I'll be good enough if I get my bachelor's. I'll be good enough if I get my master's. I'll be good enough if I get another master's. Okay, let's just go get the doctorate. And Fox has really had to help me overcome that. It doesn't matter what my education level is. It's still me, my experiences, my knowledge, and I am good enough. I am worthy of being able to talk to people, and it's hard. It's hard to overcome because we do feel that, I know I feel as a woman that I'm unheard. And there's so much shame when I was raised about, you just sit there and look pretty.
Right.
You're
not supposed to have be seen and not heard, right?
Exactly. I grew up, and still to this day I struggle with that. There's things that I struggle with, as simple as when there's two men and we're driving somewhere, I automatically go to the back seat because that's what you do. You're a woman, you sit in the back. And he was like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm getting in the back seat." He was like, "No, you come up here and sit with me." No. But something so simple as that, it's ingrained, and it's there. You can't get past it.
And you grew up in a household that was like that, where it was the woman who was always the, we'll call it, second-class citizen in the house?
I have 5 brothers, and I'm the only girl. So, yes. I was their slave.
And so even though I did not grow up in that background, actually I grew up with a very progressive,
you told us that.
Feminist mother who was an engineer back in the day when women didn't even have it.
She was a manager, so she managed people in this all-male company.
Right, in the aerospace industry. So I really had a good role model. But even having that good role model, I still felt that my voice wasn't enough. My knowledge wasn't enough. And I kind of felt that I needed to do more or be better until I did work with this, I guess it was a psychologist. We went to a retreat, and I did discuss that with a psychologist, and she kind of walked me through, like, well, what if you do make a mistake? What's going to happen? Is your world going to come, crashing down? Is your husband going to leave you? Are you going to lose your job? And they're no, and no, and no. So why are you worried about making a mistake? What is it that's so big about having to correct yourself in case you said the wrong thing. So I just relax and chill now, and now I just don't worry too much about it. It really helped me a lot. Those little tiny pieces of advice, which is what you guys do for a whole bunch of couples, can go so far in helping them just to grow.
You never know what someone needs to hear. And you have a voice. Your voice is powerful, but you have to understand that you're a powerful woman. And it's not about money, or it's not about status. You are a powerful woman in yourself, and you have this beautiful story to tell, but kicking you in the butt, it took like 3 little simple sentences, and that was life-changing for you. I want to know, when that happened, how did your sex life change?
Oh, interesting. I don't know if it changed so much, David. What do you think? Well, I could think back a couple of years ago when we were at the retreat. It was 2 summers ago. I was just starting my hormone therapy at that time.
But a couple of things did change. And one of them is, preparing to go out and get naked or to go to a swingers event, I believe Carol became a lot less worried about what other people thought.
Oh, you might be right about that.
And more worried about us as a couple. And,
I used to stress a lot getting ready for a swinger date. Always. I used to be in front of the mirror, looking, validating by David. Is this look good? And I tried on a million things. I don't feel sexy in this. I don't feel sexy in that.
I can't wear this because these people are going to be
I think
there
that
and all that stuff.
That might have relaxed also,
it
right?
It actually did.
Yeah.
And it became a lot more about us as a couple and not about worrying about what other people thought about us. And that's one of the big issues that I think Tracy and the other people at the retreat helped you with is it doesn't matter what other people think. It's about how you feel about yourself.
I think you're right. I think you summed it up very well.
Well, maybe I'll go for my doctor.
Yes.
Well, and when you exude that energy and that confidence, people see that, and you plant that seed into them as well. And that's a big, big thing. There's there's a couple here where the woman she's a little larger, and she accepts that and acknowledges that. And this place, we were talking about, because she approached me, Stephanie wasn't there, and she was like, how is she so confident? She's thicker. And I'm like, this just happened. You guys have similar stories. She came here and she saw the energy and she saw that nobody cared, and she went, oh, screw this. And then through that acceptance, she found her own beauty, with compliments and people watching her energy. So when you exude that and you push that out into the world or onto other people, it sticks to people. And then that's how they see you.
Yeah. And just a small thing, like I had a tummy tuck. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't recommend it to anybody, but I have. So I have a big scar on my belly, and I always wear a belly chain when I'm naked. And that's something that just gives me that little bit of confidence. And I think it was last year or even the last time we were here at Hedo where I said, you know what? I think I can be okay without my belly chain. And my scar was exposed. And it was like, oh my gosh. And again, the world didn't come crashing down. And nobody said, no, I can't be your friend because you have a scar on your belly. And those are the little things that perhaps I learned that day that helped me. There's little small things that people must think I'm crazy, but those are the little things that hold us back.
And,
right?
I never got it because we go to swinger events. We go to the pool. There's 50 people out there, and Carol would sit there with her pussy wide open, maybe a guy licking her, but
as long as I had my belly chain.
As long as she had a belly chain. And it's like, really?
That was her comfort. That was her little blanket.
I know. It sounds funny now even to talk about it. But the other day we were on the cruise, and I got a really good suntan with the belly chain on. And I went, oh, darn, I shouldn't have worn it on the cruise.
Tan lines.
I should have left off. Yes, the tan line. That's right.
Yes.
Sounds like my teddy bear. I can't stop wearing a watch. Not so much because I think it represents anything, but because I was taught in the military and law enforcement, it's a universal tool, not just for time. You can do many, many things. And I'm almost afraid to be without it. It's very interesting. And I've been trying to evaluate that. But I can't. I am not at a point to where I can't wear a watch.
It's like your little blankie.
It's my teddy bear.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. That's it.
Oh,
Absolutely.
wow. It's definitely exciting.
One of the things that I struggled with the hardest is my tattoo on my back.
Okay.
Because it's a cover-up of a cover-up of a cover-up, and it's in process, and it just looks like someone scribbled on my back with some crayons. And I was very embarrassed by it. To the point to where I wouldn't even allow him. In the beginning, I was like, we're not doing doggy style because you're going to watch it and then you're going to see it. And it's like, no. Just to be able to overcome that in here and just walk around. And so now people are like, oh yeah, you have the tattoo. And I'm like, yeah, it's terrible. I'm the one with it. Don't worry. But it's something that I've been able to express and overcome and just fuck it. Right?
That's cool. Well, I have something a little bit, not exactly a tattoo, but I have a birthmark on my crack of my ass.
Do you?
And it's a big brown spot, and I've always been conscientious of it. And in the lifestyle, I never exposed that side of me, that part of me. I was always on my back with my legs up in the air for that reason. In public, I didn't do doggy. And recently, I think since last year, Dave, is there fuck, please? It's nothing. It doesn't matter. To me, I think people are looking real quick thinking it's a piece of shit or something, right? And he's there, no, that's not. It's
Everybody
fine.
has birthmarks and
Right.
moles
Yeah, they
and
really
things
do.
on their
So
body.
last time we were on the cruise, not this past one, but the one before, I was doing doggy in the middle on the net with my ass up in the air,
Sucking a
Oh yeah,
cock.
sucking your cock, and then another guy came in from behind, and
And
that
how did
was
that feel?
Well, I was definitely aware of it.
Yeah.
I was aware that my ass was up in the air, and I was really. I mean,
it was a good fun.
But it didn't stop me from having fun.
Good.
And I might be over it now. I'm not sure yet because I haven't done it again, but I might be over it. It's not as, I don't know, terrifying. The thought of it is not as terrifying as maybe it had been.
Now, Steph, you were on the cruise with us.
Yes.
And you broke one of your boundaries lying there with, you want to explain it?
Yeah, so I don't do well with anything in public. I just, again, shamed for it. My brothers could. They could do whatever they wanted, but girls didn't have sex. So sex in public or sex just people watching is not something that have been comfortable with, but apparently I am, because this trip has changed that. So we were on the cargo net, and someone pulled out the drill dough. That thing gets me in trouble every time. And you were sitting there playing with my nipples, and someone was behind us, and they were just playing with me too, and he was the drill dough, and then someone was whispering in my ear, and whew.
And there was 40 people watching.
40 people watching. It was,
I had the bullet on your clip too.
Oh, yes, you did.
Yes.
It was just so many different sensations, and I was kind of insecure about it, but then I was like, just close your eyes and do it. Just close your eyes and go with it. And I think that speaks volumes for just the confidence that I've gained coming here.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the group that's doing all this has seen this, and now Mark is constantly
calling me out.
I know, right?
Come up here, because I asked him, I was like, "Can you help me push her more?" And you've done it, 5, 6 times
I
now?
don't know.
I can't even count.
By choice, though.
It's by choice, yes. No, 100%. Like,
sure.
I'm doing it.
Encouragement, but still by choice.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to keep talking about some of the different things that you have not only done for yourself, but you guys have helped some couples here really continue their journey into sexuality. So, we're going to take a moment. We're going to remind everyone we're Carol and David. We're here with Stephanie and Fox from the Kinky Coach. We're having a really cool roundtable discussion. They are a sex therapist and a sex coach. They're from the kinkycoach.com. And we're going to take a quick break and be right back after.
Hey Kinky Nation, do you need help with navigating the swinging lifestyle? Fox and I offer personalized coaching services designed specifically for your relationship needs.
Are you the person that all your friends turn to when they have questions about sex? You should check out the Kinky Coach Sex Coach Certification Course and get paid for sex coaching instead of doing it for free. Just go to kinkycoach.com.
Lastly, if you feel that you are in need of therapeutic services for your relationship or individually, please visit Beautiful Beginnings with an S, LLC.org for more information on the counseling services I offer. Okay, Kinky Nation, let's get back to the show.
Okay, we're back. You know this is the Hedonism Show. We're broadcasting live from Hedo 2 on the Grove Beach in Jamaica. I'd like to say that we're Carol and David, and normally this is our show, but today we're doing something a little bit different. We're having a roundtable discussion with our good friends, Stephanie and Fox, Coach.
So you guys had a great time here, and you learned a lot, as we just talked about opening up and doing some firsts, which we're going to list all the firsts later at the end of the show.
You have a list.
Yes, I have the list. But you guys did a lot of good help with some other couples. Some of them were newbies, some of them were only dabbling in the lifestyle, but they had questions, and they had... I'm going to say, I don't know if they were difficulties. They weren't all difficulties, but they had questions or blockages that you guys helped them with.
But before we go into that, I want to talk about you guys as people.
Okay.
Because this is your first time here at Hedo.
Yeah.
Okay? And you have gone through a journey of your own here, and we're going to talk about that in the third segment. But how cool is it that after the first or second day, you earned the trust of these couples who are here who didn't know you guys. You guys didn't have any experience here, and all of a sudden there are couples who you spoke to just by having dinner and just by spending time at the nude pool or on the beach, and you gained their trust. And that's one of the things that we love most about the lifestyle is how there's no bullshit in people.
Yeah.
People will talk to people, and they'll listen to people who have a little bit more knowledge and experience than themselves. Now, these couples that we're going to talk about now are so lucky that you guys were here to give professional, sound, credible information to them. And they actually came to Hedo, because we know the same couples, to grow and to learn. So let's talk about them a little bit.
So I guess there's some general blockages, insecurities, challenges that people have. Let's start talking about those in general.
I'm going to piggyback just a second off what you said and just add on to that to say that when you're here or when you have discussions with people, you usually have your clothes on. But here you're naked and you are vulnerable. And so it's that having someone to trust you is amazing, especially when they're in this vulnerable state. Mm-hmm. And we don't take that lightly at all. We know that it's challenging. And so to have people come up to us and talk to us about whatever they're experiencing and just trust us in that nature that's been amazing in itself. Some of the things that, you have are the body image issues. I'm too fat, or I've got this, or I have a mole in my butt, or, I have a tattoo that I don't like. Getting over that, and I've actually stole Carol's playbook when she was like, is the world going to end? I mean, no. We have some people, like the men, are having trouble getting hard, and that's embarrassing to them. And they're like, well, I see my wife, she's having pleasure, I can't get hard, and I just don't know what's happening. And so Fox helps with that. He helps really well with the guys, get them.
How does he get them hard?
Let me rephrase that.
Oral, manual.
How are you getting them hard?
We're gonna wrestle on pool later.
David's in trouble now. You don't know Fox is a big guy.
Yeah, and we're done. But just some of those, and then we have couples who are not communicating. And they had their rules before they got here, and then they got here and all the rules went out the window, and that started a few, if not many, disagreements, arguments, breakdowns in communication. So it's pretty much kind of the main issues that we've been seeing.
Yeah, so some of the other, pretty common, just miscommunication. People think they're communicating, and a lot of people in lifestyle have better communication hands down than society as a whole.
Because you're forced to talk to your partner. You have to plan and agree and go, and that's the fun part anyway. So, we are forced to learn those communication skills. But when you're a newbie, you don't really know how to handle those hard conversations.
Right. Well, and even veterans in lifestyle, mistakes happen, snafus happen. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people just miscommunicate, and they don't realize they're miscommunicating. One saying one message, the other, as Stephanie has taught me, it goes through a whole bunch of filters. It goes through your culture, your family, what you've been taught, your religion. All these filters hit before you even receive that message. And then you rearrange that message to what you think is being said.
So it's the interpretation.
Yes.
Perception and interpretation of what's happening.
Wow.
And that's a struggle for people.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's been amazing, actually, because we've seen these things happen, or they've happened next to us. And so we've just kind of chimed in saying, hey, we know you don't know us. This is our company. This is what we do. Do you mind if we talk to you for just 10 minutes? And that's turned into like 3 hours.
Wow.
And that's turned into them, listening. And it makes us stronger, but it's almost, I hate to use them as research, but it helps us even further because, we hear a lot of the same common, mistakes or problems or,
but you don't
issues.
Witness them.
Right.
Here you witness them.
We don't get to see them live.
Cool.
And so it's a whole different perspective.
Wow. And that adds to your experience in order to help the next couple and the next couple when you see it happening on the spot.
And what's very cool, because we've had discussions with these similar couples as well, and we don't have knowledge and expertise that you guys do. We talk to them from a swinging perspective because we've been swinging for so long, and
we've made mistakes for a long time.
We or me?
Well, okay, I'm not pointing at anybody. Just elbowing someone.
That's a sharp elbow.
It's genetic. We're men.
Okay.
We always make mistakes, but as a couple, every time I make a mistake, we become stronger because you got to talk about it. And you got to learn, and a lot of times you just got to say, "I'm sorry," and how can it be done better next time? And
but remember how we always said that we don't hold it against the other one.
Absolutely.
Right from the very beginning when we learned about this lifestyle, and we started watching Swing on TV, and that's one of the contracts that they sign, right?
Yeah.
In the contract at the beginning, the couple has to sign that no matter what happens here in the Swing house, we will not hold it against each other. So we took that on right away. Like that was saying, okay, we're doing that with every situation we go into. we know we will not hold it against each other.
We're good friends with Dr. Jess O'Reilly. She's been on our show many times. And that's one of the things is when you're going on this journey.
And it is a journey.
That you don't know what you don't know, shit happens. And if you both
and you
decide,
can't make a rule for something that you don't even know. You can't make a rule for that.
And if you decide that this is what we're doing, well, you have to be able to deal with the fallout when crap does happen. And I wish that Carol was a person who loved to have makeup sex, because we'd have double the amount of sex.
Right? I love it.
But what I was saying earlier is the couples that we spoke to, it was very interesting that the women in both those couples wanted to do a little bit more, and the men were like,
the ones with the insecurities, right? That was very interesting and a little bit different, I might add.
It was a lot, and I think we know the specific couple that we're talking about. She wanted some impact play, and he was like, I don't want to hurt her. I can't physically hurt her. And so we got the opportunity to go, and we let them spank me, and Fox walked them through everything, and that was really awesome to watch them grow from literally he would not touch her, did not want to hold the whip, to finally popping her on the ass. And just their growth and overcoming that was so little, but it was so major to them because he could not move on. He couldn't do anything else because he was so stuck on, I don't want to hurt her. And that was falling through, I don't want to hurt her emotionally, I don't want to hurt her physically. Well, what if I do this and it hurts her? And so we just had to break it all down. And the base level of it was, he doesn't want to cause her any discomfort. He loves her so much. But that happens in this lifestyle.
Yeah.
So what
it
happened?
Can happen.
What happened in this couple where she wanted something and they actually played it out? Didn't he want something as well?
What did he want? Yeah, he did want something. He
wanted permission.
Yeah,
he really did. Like when it got down to it, through teaching him, so as we're teaching or walking somebody through, sometimes the dynamic or our understanding changes right in the middle of what we're doing.
Because
when a light goes on or something like that, right?
Or they say something that they didn't say before, and it triggers us to go, there it is.
That's the underlying issue.
Right.
The spanking wasn't it. This is the underlying issue.
And so that's exactly what happened when, as I was doing this to her, showing him how, I was like, how are you feeling? He's like, I'm turned on. This is exciting. I said, so let's talk about that for a quick second. We stopped. I said, let's stop. Let's sit down and talk about it because you're okay with me doing it and you have no fear of me hurting her, but you don't want to. So what's the reality here? And he's like, I guess I just need to know it's okay. I said, you are looking for permission from her. She's begging
because he's always been the protector.
Correct.
And he needed permission to be not the protector at this very moment.
And
just
he's
for a
the
moment.
guy who pulls out her chair, stands up every time. He's the ultimate gentleman.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
He is absolutely the ultimate gentleman. Just getting him to smack me hard.
But listen, don't you want that ultimate gentleman? Now you're going hint, guys, take a note.
and we spoke to them last night, and I complimented her on understanding their rules because they're really good communicators. And we were on the cruise, and there was a lot of shenanigans going on with the drill dough and the vibrators and all this stuff. And she got down there, but every time she went to do something, she asked him.
Yes.
Is he okay? It's not asking, can I do it? It's more like, are you okay with me doing it?
And then later on, as the catamaran cruise was coming to an end, Carol and the wife were sitting up next to each other, and I got between them both, and I wanted a blowjob.
No, he stuck his cock in our face is really what happened.
I was trying to...
There's the reality.
Yes.
That sounds more like the game that I've been learning.
Let's just, call a spade a spade.
So they're sitting there, and all of a sudden the wife
starts looking around.
Carol's sucking my cock, and she's looking around, and I know she's looking for him. And she wants to suck my cock, but he's not around, and she didn't. And
I said, don't worry, I get that you're looking for your partner. Don't worry, David's getting his blowjob. He's a happy guy. Don't feel like, he's missing out, right?
And
so don't worry, he's getting his blowjob.
And last night I gave her a big hug for getting it. For just getting it. And he was so thankful that they didn't change their rules on the fly. They did what they agreed to do, and they've had such an amazing journey because they absolutely both get it.
Yeah.
And I asked him last night, isn't there something that you want? Do you want to lick someone's pussy and this and that? And he's like, I just want her to be pleasured and be happy.
Yeah.
And they've been in the playroom, but they haven't played with anybody. They're not at that level yet. She sucked a couple of cocks. She kissed Carol, and it was like the most amazing kiss ever. And he's like, I'm happy.
Yeah, and that's okay. You don't have to keep going forward. We say that
and
all
how
the
they
time.
got to this point was they had a snafu, and they had something that had happened their very first experience before, and they haven't done any full swap, but just a misstep.
Yeah.
And now they've talked about it, and they've grown stronger. And so when they were coming
moved on.
they have.
There.
And when they were coming into this trip, that was the ground rule, where she wanted to check with him at all times to make sure he was okay, because she didn't want to hurt him and make him feel that way again.
That's great.
And I just love that it's carried on, even when you have a dick in your face.
I know, right?
Literally.
And really a cute dick, right?
Yeah.
It's such a cute dick. So we talked a little bit about how women are, I'm not going to say repressed, but we definitely need that validation. We need to know that we're worthy. But in
verbal affirmations.
There you go, verbal affirmations. But in this lifestyle, we are let to lead. We are let to express ourselves. And this is a safe place for us to be free and to do and express and explore. But do you talk about that when you talk to your clients and how the women should drive in this lifestyle?
Yes, and I think I do talk about how the women, we need to be comfortable, and we move at the pace of the slowest person in the room.
Okay.
So
Always.
If someone's not comfortable, we don't do that. We don't force, and we make sure we instill that in them. You don't do anything you don't want to do.
Right.
And if that person is not happy about it, that's on them. That's not on you.
Right.
I feel it's a joint effort, as well as the women. So sometimes it might be the husband that's the slowest person in the room. Sometimes it's the woman. The women, I feel like, have more permission to drive it safely, and we talk about that because usually they're the ones who have more of the jealousy, or maybe they tend to hold on to things
or insecurities.
Thank you. I couldn't think of that word. And so that's what drives it, because they're usually the slowest in the room. But yes, yeah.
But we can put our foot on the brakes if that's what we want.
Absolutely.
We can say no, thank you, and we learn that it's not to hurt anybody's feelings. That we're just not into it at the moment, or it's not what I'm into, or we can just share and express ourselves more freely than I guess in a normal situation or at home.
Absolutely.
What about the concept of taking one for the team?
We do not take one for the team.
Should anybody?
Should
Absolutely
never take one for the team.
That ranks up there with faking orgasms.
And that was a hard lesson for me to learn as a woman.
Right.
And just as me.
Because as a pleaser,
I'm a pleaser.
General.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when Fox caught on that I was doing that, boy, I got a stern talking to that one.
Mm-hmm.
You and your words. I'll tell her something in this tone, and she's like, I just got yelled at. I'm like, what? I'm in trouble. I'm this. And I'm like, where do you get this from?
That's funny.
It's that I'm conditioned, and that's part of
it is
bad relationships. But so never take one for the team, and that's part of the women get to say no. We don't have to.
Right.
Well, and to piggyback off of that too, and to talk about, the slowest person in the relationship, we tend to, because we get that question a lot. Well, my wife drives us, right? I'm like, and so we go, okay, we understand where you're coming from. On a societal basis, that's probably a smart approach. But if you're slower than your wife, you need to lead this train.
Right.
I was like, it has to be, in our opinion, it needs to be the slowest person. It's kind of that terminology, the weakest link on a team, you need to build them.
Right.
And they need to get the most attention. They need to. That way everyone's on the same page, equilateral, and you're unified.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys have obviously been successful since you've been here. You've met a lot of people. You've been able to help a lot of people. You obviously attract good people to you. Do you feel like you're role models in this environment, in this community?
That is.
I'm gonna let you answer.
That is such a hard question. We're doing what we love.
Yeah.
Helping people is what we love. And that the particular couple that we were just talking about, they were like, "Can we pay you?" No.
Yeah.
And they kept apologizing. Well, we don't want to take up more of your time. Honey, we wouldn't. This is good for us. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't want to. And so I guess, yes, we are role models in that aspect, but we're human. We foul, we mess up, and people will call us out on it, and we want to be called out on it. But
So it's a really hard word for me.
But you are working on your doctorate. You will become Dr. Stephanie. I don't know how long. A year
and a half. Yep.
You will be Dr. Stephanie, and there will be that prestige that comes along with that
title.
Yes, that title. And so I guess maybe you will feel like a role model at that point. I don't know.
Do you feel like you're a role model? You guys have been doing this, and you are 100% like successful.
Well, not 100% successful. Of course, we have our ups and downs, and, we all do. We are humans. But I think we do believe we are role models as well, and we try to act accordingly.
Yes.
We don't drink and get out of hand and go crazy and forget what we said or did. We never ever do that. We try to stay in place.
But one of the things that make us real, and you real, and the other coaches and sexologists who are out there and open as swingers or open-minded sexually they are, like you said earlier, naked in the pool, just one of the other folks over there and available to talk to, and all you're doing is sharing your knowledge. It's the same thing if you were there with a financial advisor and he was there naked and telling you how to do stocks, or someone who's going to tell you how to fix your car or do something on the internet.
Yeah, that's a cool way of doing it.
It's just information, and there's no materialism here. When you're naked, you don't know if you're with a billionaire or someone who's saved up for 10 years to be here for that once-in-a-lifetime vacation. And you talk to so many people. That's all we do here is talk, eat. Well, we have a lot of sex.
Okay.
That's pretty much.
But you spend the day rolling conversations, right? You're talking to a couple here or two couples there, and then someone comes in and you're talking over here, and you get out of the pool and you go on the beach and you talk to other people there, and you miss a conversation because you have to go pee.
But wait, then you go for a nap.
I go for a nap. Yes, I miss the conversation. But people get to know who you are and how easy you are to talk to very, very quickly. And we have found over the years our best shows that we've done are when we talk to couples who are real, who've had real experiences where they talk firsthand. And I believe that's why you guys are becoming more and more successful, because you're just that regular swinger lifestyle couple who has some good information, credible information to share with people.
And also, you're still exploring. I think that's the fun part.
Yes.
And you're relishing in all of those little mini steps, the baby steps that you're taking, and you're sharing those.
And you're not telling people this is the way to do it.
No.
You are giving them your opinion based on what you've seen, and
what you've learned.
And I'm sure over the week you've given people information at the beginning of the week. They've gone, spoken about it, come back, and a couple of days later, they're back at you saying, okay, we tried this, it worked well, now what next?
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about being with people for a whole week. You get to know them, you get to roll through the different conversations, and at the end of the week, all of a sudden you see some couples who've become completely transformed and have this new toolkit to go home with and continue their journey.
I guess it's got to be like that's what you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
That's success.
Another thing I feel like what makes me more approachable, and not him, because he's not approachable. He is. And people are like, I don't want to talk to him. But I share the truth of it. I have been on the bathroom floor crying. I have been in the pits of jealousy. I have had to excuse myself from play, and I don't hide that. I'm not perfect. I will tell you any in my worst stories because I'm real. And I think that element of my personality and just who I am helps people open up to me.
Well, you wear your heart on your sleeve, and it's obvious.
I do.
And you feel like you're going to get the naked truth from you.
Yeah.
Too many professionals are just that. They stay professional 100% of the time. And, okay, that's great.
That's one way of doing it.
That's one way of doing it.
If that's your comfort level,
and that's fine, too.
It's not our way of doing it.
Right.
So she came up with a really good motto is, I'm a reality-based therapist. I'm going to tell you what you want to hear, not specifically or I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not specifically what you want to hear. And I grabbed onto that creed because I was like, if we are just us, and so a lot of just when we're helping people, we tell them our stories. We're
right.
Like,
well, that's kind of the most we can do as well, because we're not therapists or coaches. So we just share our experience of what happened to us when that, something similar was like that. And they can take it, the information.
But your experience is worth more than my education.
Well, I don't know.
Honestly, it is. Okay. Because you've lived it, you've been there, you've done it.
But it's only one You know, I think it's not just your education; it's also all of the counseling that you've done in your career that you've added to your repertoire, so you can share different types of points of view, where we can only share our point of view.
But the cool part, I'm going to go back to this Hedo being here for a week.
Yeah.
The cool part is, as people who watch people, you get a whole week at different times of the day, at different quantities of alcohol to see the people you're talking to and almost observe them. And then when you talk to them, you can say, well, you know, when you guys were doing that last night, it was great, or you know what?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas, you know, when you have couples who come into your clinic, you have an hour.
Yep.
And then they go away, and they come back in 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
That's true. That is very different,
so
right? That's very cool.
It's a really cool way to observe people and help them by giving first-hand advice based on observing them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and people tend to be more open when they're naked in their natural environment, just being who they are, versus coming into the office. Sometimes it's hard too because
they don't want to open up.
We can try and pull things out of clients, but they're only going to give us what they want to, whether they trust us or not. We have found this out. We have clients that trust us wholeheartedly, and we know they're holding back.
Is that like white coat syndrome? You know, you go into the doctor's office and your blood pressure like skyrockets, and they come into your office and they shut up, like they shut down.
I'm like, this is the place. And I don't ever have a set agenda when I talk to people. There's some counselors who pre-plan, and that's great. I sometimes wish I could do that, but I'm not that person. You're going to come in and you're going to sit down, and then I tell you, this is your hour. What do you want to talk about?
So
what's bothering
more
you?
Free flow.
Yes, and then I meet them where they're at. That's another thing that I love with the couples, though, is I meet the couples where they're at. But you know, when you work with couples, you have his truth, her truth, and then the real truth.
Right.
And I'm a puzzle. I'm like a puzzle piece maker or whatever, and I'm trying to put the puzzle pieces together because they're holding back, she's holding back, it's just a big mystery. So watching them in their natural environment, I love that you pointed that out because we have been doing that, but I haven't thought of it.
It almost makes it easy.
It does.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we are going to get Stephanie and Fox naked and get down and dirty with some of the sexual exploits that we have seen them doing.
And we're observing too, by the way.
Yes.
So let's remind everyone, we're Carol and David. We're having a great roundtable discussion with Stephanie and Fox from the Kinky Coach. We're here at Hedonism on the Grove Beach in Jamaica, and we'll be right back with Great Sex Matters, so stay right there. And you know what? As I say every show, we're not going anywhere. We are going to talk about one of our sponsors, which is Hedonism II. We talk about it on all our shows. It's one of our favorite places to hang naked on the beach with our friends. It is the sexiest place on earth where you can be as mild or as wild as you like. And as you know, we've mentioned it a few times, Hedo is celebrating their 40th anniversary this year. So come along, join us for all the celebrations over Halloween week, October 30th to November 6th.
Yeah, you won't want to miss any of this sexy fun event where Hedo goes all out with their special activities, their entertainment, and this year is going to be awesome. There's going to be extra special everything this 40th anniversary. Just have to go to thesexylifestyle.com and click on the Hedo link to book the sexiest and most erotic vacation ever.
Ever. Absolutely. All right. This is the Hedonism Show. We're Carol and David. We're doing a very cool show today with Stephanie and Fox from the Kinky Coach. We've been having a nice roundtable discussion. But it is now time for our favorite part of the show, where we get to talk about great sex, because
great sex matters, and we all deserve it. So, guys, are you ready to talk about your personal space?
Let's do it.
We're going to invade right now. So, Steph, we know from our earlier discussion that you obviously didn't have a sex-positive upbringing, but and that causes a lot of inhibitions, insecurities. First of all, can you pinpoint some of them that you had to overcome in your adulthood? What were the major insecurities that you had to overcome?
My body image issues.
Okay. Were you told that you were fat? Were you told that you were big? Were you told that you were too lanky? What do you think? What was your body image issue that you have?
I was always told that I would. This is so terrible. I've never even said this. My mom was very beautiful as a teen, and people would compliment her. But then when I started, developing, they would compliment me, and they would say, "Man, your mother was beautiful, but you are beautiful." And my mom would tell me, "You'll never be as beautiful as I was.
Oh my God,
you'll never be." And that, I've never said this out loud before. that affected me in so many different ways, because then I got an eating disorder because she was, slender her whole life, and I'm just taller than her. I'm not petite like she was. So I always felt like I was competing for her love and competing to be good enough to be like her. And so that's where a lot of that came from, because I would never, and she would always tell me, you'll never be what I was when I was your age.
So you know now that you are absolutely stunning, right?
I am working on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'm sure Fox tells you every single day.
He's working on that.
Okay. So do you feel that you are over your body shame? Is that something you can say, I've gotten over?
No, I don't think I ever will be.
Has it changed since you've been with Fox?
It absolutely has changed. It's changed since I've been here. I've been doing things that I never would have thought to have done. And that's been liberating. That is just something, it's almost like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders.
Let's talk about getting here 30 seconds later, just being naked on the beach. How did your brain process that?
Well, I wasn't naked on the beach 30 seconds. It took a day. I wore my bottoms.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hear the whole story.
I took the top off, but I wore my bottoms. And then the next day I was like, I'm doing it. I got it. And I stood, it was so crazy, because I stood in the room and I was in the door and I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I walked out and I walked back in and I was like, I can do this. Okay, I can do this. And then I just walked out, and I don't know what the hell, he was probably thinking, what the hell is wrong with her? Because I was like, okay, no,
I knew what was going on.
So you walked out naked that moment.
Hold on. So she walked out naked and he walked out wearing shorts.
Okay, we get that. We're going to get to Fox in a second.
We're going to get to that.
Yes.
That was
intentional. We want to hear her story.
Yeah.
So how did you feel as you walked out? Now you're walking towards a public area. Like, it was so private when you stepped out of your door.
Yeah, it was still private.
Right.
I just was taking deep breaths, and I was like, I can do this. I am worth this.
And where did you enter the public space? Was it the pool? Was it the beach?
It was the beach.
Okay.
It was the beach, and then we walked down, and which was kind of even more awkward because you walk in front of everybody. But I just did it.
Did you escape to the water? Did you want to find some refuge there?
I went straight up to the bar, and I just owned it. And
she almost broke my hand for a second.
Yeah, she's holding tight.
I don't know if you remember. You grabbed my hand, she started squeezing. I was like, okay, we got this. Come on.
But and so you walked out, and you're walking down the beach. We know the pathway, and you get to the bar, and you're ordering your drink, and you're looking up, and you see everybody else is naked.
Everybody else, and so it didn't.
So if you were wearing clothes, you would have been the anomaly.
Yeah, and there was big bodies, little bodies, beautiful bodies, moldy bodies, hairy bodies everywhere, and
everyone talking to everyone.
Everybody, nobody cared.
That's
and
right.
nobody was
No
evaluating
judgment. No.
exactly. And so that's when I was like, oh, I got this.
And you've been naked ever since.
I have.
In many other places.
Many other places.
Except for the eating areas.
That's
Yes,
right.
because it's not allowed, right?
And then it was very cool how.
Wait, do you want to hear Fox's story now?
Fox had to wait for Carol to
Oh,
show
okay.
up.
Let's Fox tell the story.
Is that what I did?
Yeah.
No. So I didn't want to overwhelm her and just get naked. Because I'll get naked anywhere in front of anybody.
Carol with your cock.
No, with her.
Okay.
Let's clarify. That's all.
Okay.
And so I told myself, you're not going to get naked until she has been naked for a full day.
Oh.
So I waited.
Okay.
On purpose, because I didn't want her to freak out or get nervous and be like, oh my gosh, they're looking at him. I wanted her to be successful for one full day, being naked, accepting it, understand that people actually look in your eye. They're not just like, oh, all over the place. I mean, yes, they look at you because it's
Why
fun
not?
and it's
She's
nice,
hot.
and why not, right?
I look at I don't even think I've looked one person in the eye since I've been here.
She's admitting it.
But I needed her to be successful in that first because I need her to understand why.
Cool.
And then once I realized that she had the why, then I made it funny and walked up to Carol and was like, stick out your hand. And then took off my shorts and put it on Carol's.
Right.
And you really believe that if you came out naked next to Stephanie, people would look at you instead of her?
No, not at all.
I don't think so.
But I needed her to own it for a full
Right.
day.
Right.
Absolutely.
And she did great. It was
So,
awesome.
so Steph, let's move on.
Okay.
And let's talk about before.
I think it was the next day where you were playing on.
That happened the next day.
So there, go ahead.
on the catamaran.
No, the next day was at the pool.
No, at the pool.
Oh yeah.
That was her first public appearance.
Which?
For a show.
Oh, but which one?
Where you had your orgasm on the
Oh.
side.
It was the Sawzall.
Yeah.
Oh.
Was that the next? Well, tell us.
Yeah.
Was that the
I
next
know
thing?
your very first because I was like, holy shit, she's
Yeah.
doing
Chelsea
this.
was doing it
Chelsea
with the drill.
did it, and
Drill dough?
that's very hard to have been in front of everybody and very hard to have just, but I just did it.
So set the stage. Tell everybody where you
so
were.
we're at the pool, by the naked pool, and there's the DJ booth, and they have a little ledge, and they usually do their quote-unquote, air quotes again, show right there. And they call you up with all these fun toys. They have literally two suitcases full of toys.
Let's shout out to Chelsea and Mark from Top of Travel.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Party Mark.
And they called me up, and I
But did you say no in your head, or
I
did
did.
you? Yes.
But
right?
then I told myself, "There's no no's this trip."
Okay.
So I just did it, and
so you went up there. But did you know what you were getting yourself
No,
into?
I did not know what that was.
And you had a mind-blowing orgasm. Were you turned on? Were you aroused?
I was, and that was shocking to me because I'm performance anxiety. I mean, I don't like to. I don't know.
I'm sure Chelsea helped a little bit.
Chelsea helped a lot, but I just closed my eyes and I just let it. I felt it. I didn't worry about people watching.
So you're lying on your back on the side of the pool. Chelsea has this dildo which is attached to a sawzall, and it goes in and out, 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 in and out.
And she's whispering things, and she's rubbing, kissing, and she's beautiful.
She
so
is.
yeah, that only enhanced the orgasm.
Yeah.
So
day 2, well, day 3, I guess this must be now, right?
Just hang on. So before we get into you deep-throating me in public, we're gonna end the show on that.
Woo!
He is so
I
excited.
want to talk about something non-sexual that you did.
Okay.
Because we've been talking about you taking your clothes off, having stuff in your pussy, your legs wide open.
Yeah. I had sex on the beach.
You had sex on the beach. We won't even talk about all the 5 cocks all going around doing the pool.
Yeah.
I want to talk
The synchronized swimming.
Yeah.
I want to talk about you dancing with Harry.
I did that, and I had clothes on.
Absolutely.
Beautiful dress. You looked gorgeous.
Thank you.
So just walk us through, we're coming to the end of the show, walk us through the practice with him, the type of person he is,
and why
and
that
the
was,
insecurities that
and why that was stepping over your boundaries.
Yes.
Well, I had 2 people walk up to me and say, "Hey, can you dance?" That happened to be you guys. And I'm like, I mean, maybe. And you're like, okay. And David, you just walked off. You didn't even ask permission. You just walked off. And I was like, oh, we are doing this. And my can't say no. We went up to Harry, and I was I was nervous. I was overwhelmed. I was almost.
So just for those who don't know, Harry is the CEO and chairman of Hedonism II.
Yes, very. And
but he is part of the guest list, right? He's right here partying along with us.
Yeah, but it was just, I don't know, I don't want to call it starstruck, but kind of starstruck.
A little bit.
Like,
I get it.
And he's like, okay.
Here's me, Stephanie, with the owner of the property, right?
And I'm like, oh, so and I asked him, I said, so out of everybody here, you sure you want me to do this? I mean,
Well, did he just take one look at you and he said, hell yeah?
He did. He was like, yeah, hell yeah. And I was like,
pretty sure Harry was looking at her all week.
I know.
He's such a gentleman, though. So then he was like, okay, well, meet me tomorrow at 4. We're going to rehearse. Okay. So I brought my shoes, and I was nervous, and I was in the pool practicing. People were practicing with me because I was like, somebody's got to teach me to salsa. I don't know how to do this. I did, but I didn't. And then we had our rehearsal, and we rehearsed for just 1 hour. He kind of went through the steps, but then he sat down with me and he talked to me for about an hour and a half, and he just opened up, and that was what made it comfortable. And then so he was like, we tried on all these dresses, and he was like, I like this one, I like that. And it was a little nerve-wracking backstage right before, but then it was just like, it's just Harry. I just looked at Harry.
So you got on the stage, you're dancing with him,
yeah.
And we know Harry likes to be with a gorgeous woman who likes to be and get very sexy with him. What was going through your mind when you put your hand through his legs and grabbed his crotch?
I asked permission first. When we were rehearsing, I said, is there anything, can I add to this? Is there anything that I can add? Can I do this? And he was like, absolutely. And so we rehearsed it once. We didn't even know that we were going to end that way, and the ending of the show was perfectly timed with the last crotch grab.
Right.
And we were like, we walked in the back, and he was like, we did that pretty good. I was like, I know. And yeah, so he was like, thank you.
And how did you feel when you were done? It was a 6-minute dance.
It was 6 minutes. I don't know. I just was so proud of myself.
Well, I got to tell you, we saw that the look on Harry's face. He was in heaven dancing with you. I mean, he could dance with any of the ECs here,
right,
but he chose a guest. He chose you. He had so much fun. You could see it in his face. I had tears in my eyes. I was so happy for you.
Oh, Harry wanted me because he came out and he sang that song, and he wanted me to dance for him while we were singing.
That's right.
But Winston, he said no. He didn't want anybody to see my dress until I came
out. Nice.
That's
okay.
Typical Winston.
Yeah.
Typical
He
He likes the big reveal. Absolutely.
Well, listen, he knows, so and it was
Yeah.
spectacular.
Yeah.
So like,
Exactly.
it definitely worked out well.
Yeah.
So,
And then we
you
end the
would
night.
think, you would think that that would be the pinnacle of your evening, but you needed to do a little bit more.
I did.
Okay, and let's
The
describe.
build-up
What,
is
Stephanie
amazing
wanting
here.
to do more?
Let's
What?
describe the scenario of us being in the courtyard.
I want you to describe that.
Oh,
From
yeah,
your
let's hear it.
perspective.
Let's hear it.
Can we let's talk about her going, I like Dave's personality. I think, or why do I keep saying that? Dave's personality. I think I'm going to do that. And I said, but you should make him wait a little bit. Make him suffer just a
3
little
days.
bit. So
And
she
did he not ask for it for 3 days?
Yeah.
By the end, he
yeah.
was begging,
She
right?
kept reminding, she kept touching him, and I was like,
I was looking
this
for
is so great.
I'm patient.
But you know what?
I'm
David
patient.
is patient.
I'm patient.
Yeah, maybe you didn't know
All
that he's
good
that
things
patient.
come to those who wait.
Yeah.
So we're out in the courtyard, and there's probably 40 or 50 people dancing. The music is blaring. Stephanie had already taken off her top. Her gorgeous tits were everywhere. She was grinding and
Wearing a little
twerking
tiny panty set.
and doing all that. And, she comes over to me, and she looks up. She gets down on her knees. She looks up at me. She looks over at Carol. She says, is this okay? Looks at me. Is this okay? Pulls down my pants and starts deep-throating me. Keep going, Steph.
Yeah, and I have serious reservations about just deep throating in general. I have a very bad gag reflex. I'm working on it. So that's a huge step for me because I don't do that in public because sometimes I do throw up and that's embarrassing. And so yeah, I took a huge step outside of my comfort zone and I was like, I'm doing this shit. So you're my first in public.
Absolutely. And then, of
Wow.
course,
It didn't take long
Harry's
to get
there.
him
Harry's
hungry.
there,
Hey,
and now
come
he's the
over.
spectator.
Yeah.
He was the show, now he's a spectator.
No, he's there. My dancer's, playing now. What's going on with
Yeah.
that?
Steph's going, your cock is so hard and so big. And I'm like, okay, this is a good thing. And she's like, don't get any bigger or harder. Like, take it all.
Yeah.
And everybody knows I have an AWC, right? Just an average white cock. And the more she's telling me I'm hard, the harder I'm getting.
Yeah.
And anyways, it was just a huge turn on. And
Yeah.
Steph, thank
Super
you so
hot.
much. It was
That was
super,
so much
super
fun.
hot. Everybody was standing there watching. And it was just a great end to an amazing evening. I hope you
It was a
are a
wonderful
different
day.
person now, right?
Yeah.
You broke out of so many different insecurities and shells, and it's just wonderful watching.
Thank you for giving me the avenue. I mean, we're here with you guys, and you guys provided that avenue, so you guys kind of did it.
Well, you guys
Absolutely.
found that safe space to
Yeah.
explore. Like, that's what you can do here at Hedo, so I'm glad you had the opportunity to come here and do that.
Final advice. We're at the end of the show.
We are at the end of the show, so how about if you let us know what you think is the best way to attack insecurities with the help of your partner? What would be the first step someone could do if they have an insecurity?
In their own couple, without necessarily getting therapists or coaches involved.
Right.
Be honest about what your insecurities are, and ask yourself. Find out. Research yourself, explore, find out what they are, and talk to your partner about them. Fox did something that I've never seen him do before, and we were working with a couple, and he laid her down because she was really insecure, and he went over all of her body parts and told her what he saw. And let your partner do that. Lay down, get naked, let your partner tell them what they see and describe you, and that really helps.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
All the positives.
Yeah,
Nothing negative, just
Nothing
all
negative.
the positives. And I can't promise you're going to hear something new, but that was the first time I've done that. I've given that advice the second time to another couple. They've done it. We've gotten feedback from the other couple. He did it to her after. And each of the individuals that had that done, they were like, I learned something new about my partner and how they saw me, and I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing.
And
Sounds pretty obvious, but I
does.
guess
Yeah.
the exercise is worthy.
And I'm going to end on one simple note because we've been talking about being naked
Yeah.
and being on the beach and insecurities about taking off your clothes. And one of the things you can do just at home with your partner is walk around the house naked.
Exactly.
Just try it.
Yeah.
Go greet your partner when they come home with nothing but a trench coat on. And just take those little baby steps.
Yes.
If you're insecure about those little things, take those baby steps. Guys, an amazing show. We're going to absolutely continue our friendship
Yes.
in the many months and weeks and years to come. just a fantastic show. Stephanie and Fox from Kinky Coach, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And to all our listeners,
do you guys want to take a second and tell everybody where they can reach out to?
So you can find us on our website, kinkycoach.com. That's coach with a K. And all of our social media plugs are there. All of our content's there, all our blogs, etc. Pretty much everything is on the website.
And of course, if you missed any of that information, they will have a guest page on our website, as all our guests do, and you can even reach out and contact them there as well.
Absolutely.
And please remember to stay safe and healthy and follow all the suggested protocols issued by your local health authorities. Wash your hands, avoid touching your face, practice social distancing, and please wear a mask. And when your turn comes up, get vaccinated.
Absolutely.
This has been a multi-broadcast and collaboration between the Kinky Coach and the Sexy Lifestyle with Carol and David. We thank you for listening and have a great night.
Hey, Fox.
Not again.
Why don't you tell them where they can find us?
Oh, so you can find us on the Bookface.
Facebook.
Yeah, that thing. At the Kinky Coach. Or you can find us at any of the adult beverage websites. You like that?
I do, yeah.
Yes, because you're tasty. You're thirsty. Yeah.
Yes, thirsty.
So you can look for either Luna _and_ Logan, or you can look for the Kinky Coach and her Silver Fox. Yep.
So thank you for listening, and we hope you have a very sexy evening.
Have a good night.
You are listening to the Kinky Coach podcast with Stephanie
and Fox.